There we go.
And the bottom, you can actually fit it into the computer.
It's function plus, right, to get the sound up.
I like Margaret's really working through that. That's awesome. All right, everybody, we're going to get ourselves started. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to be with you today to talk about this project that Jen and I are very excited to get the details out and get people on board and join us for this. So this is our intro kind of info webinar about what you can expect if you participate in this project, the New Hampshire Assistive Tech in Education project, the implementation for students with significant disabilities. A project we have now rechristened PECS-AT. So as you see, we have created this new acronym for it, which is for Plan, Explore, Create, Share Assistive Technology. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. We're so glad that you are here with us today.
Volume, you should just be able to hear.
Oh, wait a minute. This is
As we go through, let me find out who's there. We go. I'm working multiple controls here at the same time. That's okay. As we move through it, Lori, you like that? That was fun, right?
Yep.
So we're recording the webinar. So even if you miss a little or you have to leave before we're done, I'll post this up after we're finished. I'll tell you where I'm going to post it just so you know where it lives. So you can go back and listen to the parts you missed. If you had other questions about something we've talked about, or you want to share this with other colleagues, as we've said in the slide, somebody you might want to recruit in, they can certainly review it later. We'll share some resources and some information where you can get in touch with us as we go forward if you have more questions. So here's kind of a plan. It seems like a lot, but we'll move through it at a pretty good pace. We're going to introduce you to the project. We'll do a quick intro of the project facilitators. We'll give you some sense of how you could sign up for this. Any questions and answers that you already have, we're going to try to answer. We'll do our best to answer them. If we don't have answers, we will certainly figure it out and get back to you, that's for sure. And then hopefully we can get you convinced that you want to sign up for this when we're done today.
And folks, feel free to post your questions in the chat.
Yes.
If you look at your controls and you hover to the bottom of the screen, you should see a little chat button, and you can type in a message to all of us or private messages to each other. And we'll play with turning the mutes on and off for folks. I know everybody is sometimes in some busy classrooms, so we'll do our best to hear you, or at least hear you via the chat.
Yeah, we will certainly be able to catch you by the chat, and we'll keep an eye on that as we go through. So if you have questions you want to add, please feel free. If you have a question that makes more sense to be spoken instead of typed, I certainly get that. We'd be happy to have you turn your mic on and just jump in and share it for the whole group to hear. So we'll be pretty informal. I think you'll get that impression real quick as we go through this, that we're pretty informal about things. So we're happy to have you take some control over the webinar and really get what you need to get out of the webinar. That's what we want. We want you to get the information you need in order to make a decision about what makes sense for you, your team, and your school. So what do you say? Let's go. So we'll take 2 seconds. We'll introduce ourselves as your project coordinators, your facilitators. That is me. Hello. My name is Mike Murata. I am one of the project coordinators here. I am an assistive technology specialist. I live in New Jersey, go across the country providing assistive technology training to an array of organizations, school districts, statewide organizations, grants with other state entities as well. And so I've been in the field of AT for about 30 years, even though that seems hard. Oh my God, it's too much. But yeah, 30 years. And I kind of an array of a background. It's a very diverse background. I'm actually came into the field of AT as an engineer. So that's my background. As I've moved through it, have kind of gravitated more towards the education aspect of it, working with teams for K-12 and higher ed. I'm an adjunct professor at a university here in New Jersey, teaching master's level educators in assistive technology. So I do a little of that as well. And there's all my contact info. If you have questions you want to ask, feel free, ask away when we're done today, or at any time in this process. You have anything you're curious about, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to chat with you about anything and everything.
Hey folks, so I'm Jennifer Edge Savage. I'm Mike's partner in crime in this grant opportunity. So my background, I'm an occupational therapist, and I have been focusing primarily on assistive technology almost since I started as an OT. So for over 20 years, I've been involved in this field, and I too have started leaning more and more towards education. I've had many, many hats and continued to try on new hats in this field in an effort to learn new things in this field that's constantly changing, and really focus on students having access and having a voice. I was former director of the Assistive Technology Graduate Program at Simmons College, now Simmons University. We graduated our last of 18 cohorts about a year and a half ago. So now I'm focused on teacher prep and teaching courses in assistive technology for new special educators. And I do have a private practice and work with a lot of folks in the Boston area primarily, and do a lot of work with various assistive technology companies to support with product development and support with training folks to actually implement the technology. And Mike and I are both involved with ISTES, the International Society for Technology and Education. We're actively involved in the board for the Inclusive Learning Network, which is kind of the special education technology foothold and UDL foothold in that organization. So that's who we are.
That's us. So now let's tell you a little bit about what we hope to do. And actually, before that, I'll give Lori one opportunity. Lori, would you like to say something from the Department of Ed perspective?
Sure. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I'm really glad that we have returning folks and some new folks on the line. I think that's awesome. I think, as Mike said, you have the ability to unmute yourself if you have questions. There's also a chat box, so please feel free, get your questions answered. And I'm really excited to move forward with this. I think there's a lot of really good things in store over the next couple of years, and hopefully at the end of this, you will all sign up. I think we have some fabulous learning to do together. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you. We are too. We're very excited. As Lori knows, because every time we talk to each other, we're like, oh, we can't wait. It's going to be great. So we're really excited. So kind of what's the plan as we go forward? So as we start thinking about what we're hoping to accomplish here, part of it will be an extension of what was done previously. So there was a previous 2-year grant, which again, like Lori mentioned, some of you were part of, which focused on looking at the quality indicators for AT services, and culminated with the document that is on the right-hand side there, which is the New Hampshire Assistive Technology Handbook, which takes a lot of the quality indicators and puts that little customization on it and makes it more, I was going to say, and I'm going to say it, I've tried to fight it and I can't, New Hampshire. It just makes it a little more New Hampshire. I couldn't resist. I wanted to, and I just couldn't. So our hope is to look at this as a way that we can support the groups that were in that project, and at the same time bring other groups on board and work them through their process of creating a system to ensure that the needs of every student are met. Our focus for this grant is on students with significant disabilities. But like anything else, a consistent, effective AT service delivery program will work for any student with a disability. So again, there's that point too, and I think that's the great point about talking about process. If we've never met before and you get a chance to meet with me, I love talking about process. The tools are great. I love talking about tech. If you were on the recording before we started, Jen and I were just sharing our newest technology purchases, which was great. And I'm all about buying tech and getting new tech. But really, tech without the process behind it is just more stuff. And I think we want to get away from this idea of more stuff equals better, and instead look at a way to make sure the right stuff is better. And part of the right stuff is making sure your process is thoughtful, consistent, and effective. Jen, did I miss anything?
You're preaching to the choir. Absolutely.
I know. Good.
Well, and Mike, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I
Please,
also want to
feel
make
free.
sure that folks that are on the call that are new to this and haven't had the experience with the quality indicators in the last 2 years, can you speak to how or what kind of things that you have in mind to help them kind of, I don't want to use the word get caught up, but that's all I can think of, kind of like the New Hampshire-ish, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you can only think of that, that's all you can say. Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
if you're a new group and you weren't part of that old grant, we will focus some energies to help you build your process. So there will be a component of this that is a building of process. Quite honestly, just like the other groups, even the groups that were part of the previous grant, that process, I'm sure, will continue to evolve as we move through this. I would love it if your processes were done, but like anything else, I don't know if a process is ever truly done. I think it always has opportunities to improve. And there will be opportunities throughout this grant process to help you. And I think as we go to our next slide, it gives you a sense of some of the breakdown of what the activities are going to be. And Jen will walk through those, and that might give us some more indicator of where we can provide extra support to groups that were not part of the previous process.
Yeah, so absolutely. And throughout, as we look at tools, I mean, it's always process behind it. So whether you're new or whether you've gone through the quiet process, we're going to continue to support each other. I mean, it's a reflective and iterative process as you try to figure out, the best things to do for your students and for your districts, for your schools, and for the state. So as you see, we've hijacked PECS for our own purposes, just to confuse folks who are using picture exchange communication systems. But it sounds very AT. So part of the process and the days that we'll be doing in this grant is the first day is really kind of a revisiting and planning. I got it. You're on the mic.
That's okay, I got it.
And it will be very much a foundation in re-exploring quiet indicators, looking at the SET framework for assistive technology assessment, and also looking at the law. And as we move forward, in that same day, we'll begin exploring the different tools, strategies, procedures for doing that. And as we move deeper, we always start with kind of your big plan and your process. As we move deeper, giving more and more opportunities to build on that and start creating. What does accessible education materials mean? What does that look like for these students we're thinking about? Looking at low tech and high tech and curriculum access, as well as making sure that there's ongoing coaching support, webinar supports, and we have already planned a series of 8 webinars for each of the quiet indicators for folks who do need to do that catching up. And for folks who have been through the process already, you get to hear it with a new spin and maybe with a new eye for teaching others as well. And then we'll continue that on with our final. We want to end this year, the school year, with an open assistive technology unconference where folks can share and start the process all over again of planning, replanning, exploring, getting new ideas to create, to be sharing them again as we continue to grow and deepen our understanding in this field. Mike, I say this all the time. Mike doesn't say it, but I joke that I feel incompetent every day because I chose to be an assistive technology specialist in a field where tools are constantly changing. However, the strategies, the procedures, my foundation in quality indicators for assistive technology and the SET framework remain the same. My process for feature matching is always the same no matter what new tool is thrown at us, because it's never about the tool, right? Student first, and thinking about the tasks that we need these tools to support them, but it's all part of a much larger process.
Yeah, and I think when we think about some of these other activities that Jen mentioned, the coaching and the webinars, and even the conference itself that we're thinking about, all of those lead to a very customized learning experience for every group. And I think that's what makes those kinds of activities very exciting. It's not going to be kind of a one-shot deal. We're not going to create materials in one certain path and then hope that you're on that path with us. We're going to create things in a flexible way that it meets you where you are and takes you to where you want to go. I think that's really important to think about this idea. And we'll be aware, because we recognize that not everybody's going to be in the same spot, and that's all right. But our hope is that everybody who comes along, when we're done, is in a better spot than they were when we started. Maybe not the end, but certainly better than where they started.
And we always have this kind of diversity. It's expected. This diversity within any group. And we do really both operate on kind of a universal design for learning lens and framework, where we're giving you choice and hopefully just right challenges, and making sure that the work you do is relevant, and that we're constantly reflecting on practice and moving to the next level that makes sense for you, or each of us individually too, as well as where we want to move forward as a group as you further develop your kind of statewide standards and expectations for these students.
For sure.
Am I talking about this one, Mike?
Yes.
So everything that we do, we really believe in transparency and sharing resources. Like throughout the grant, everything will be posted to our central Google site, which will have, additional project info, any resources that are shared, information about Quiet, information about the conference, and figure out opportunities for you to support each other as well. So everything that we do, recordings, projects, will be posted for the state to see. Oh, I hope I didn't scare everybody away with that one. But the idea is that we want to start creating the sharing and this database where, nobody needs to reinvent the wheel, and we can share this with our colleagues who might not be involved in the grant as well.
Yeah, and also share that with our other community stakeholders, so that we can build a network of people with the same understanding about what it is to mean, what the idea of process is. You can go to that website now. That website is active right now, and it has some information there. In fact, when we're done today, that's where we'll post the recording of this webinar right now. We'll post it up to that website. So if you have that PECS-AT.com website, you'll have all the information. As we move into the actual process with the teams that sign up for this, then that last page will become active, and it will allow them to log in through that page to get to the rest of our materials. So that's kind of the plan of what the digital resource will look like.
And the beauty of having a digital resource is that it grows with us. It's constantly evolving through what's needed by the group, and posting and sharing, what we need and what we create together.
Definitely.
So Mike, I'm sorry, and Jen, I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Lori. I just want to point out too that if you haven't looked at it, when Jennifer and Mike were talking about the posting to the state kind of thing, there's that's open to whomever because it's a live website. But that second part about sharing our resources and what we're doing together and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike and Jen, if I'm misunderstanding this, but that's a close just to our group.
Yes, that's right. That part will be closed to our group. So we will work through that part together.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify that for folks. Yeah,
thank you, Lori. And at some point, perhaps some of the items that we create as a group may find their way into the open side of the website. But I think that team login piece, envision that as a second page that will just be closed for the people that are part of the process, part of our project. Good, thank you. Oh, Lori, I like having your phone open the whole time. This is great.
I'm not sure. I'm really working hard to behave, just so you know.
I know. I like it. I appreciate that. It's great.
So right now, the plan is for, each year that we have 3 required full day face-to-face trainings. We operate on this blended model where there will be points, kind of beginning, middle, and end, where we'll be together and you can have face-to-face and talk with each other and really get your hands on things together for that type of support. But this is a blended model, and Mike and I really believe in this blended model where you have those face-to-face check-ins, but you have online support, whether it's synchronous, we're all doing it together at once live, or asynchronous, you're watching a you're watching a recording or responding to a discussion or sharing resources or working collaboratively on a project on your own. So we have 3 days planned, and kind of beginning that PECS idea of, first day we'll plan, we'll start exploring. The next day we'll really continue the exploring and move into creating, and then creating into sharing. And then that final 4th day is a plan for this unconference, which is a traditional conference with some elements of Ed Camp within it, where there's opportunities to share and just repeat again. It's like rinse and repeat. Let's start, planning new things to explore, new ideas for creation, and sharing again. Right now, the plan is to have them at the Capitol Center at Concord, and the first training will be there on December 12th. But as we pull this group together, we're open to the idea of looking geographically where everyone is and seeing if it makes sense to perhaps look for host sites in other areas of the state. Right now we're planning for Concord, but we're open as we get together and start our planning on that first day. We're open to kind of suggestions from the teams on what makes sense for the future. So our live trains are 12-12, 2-12, 4-12. You kind of see what we did there. This is to help us remember. If it's the 12th day of the month, we might need to be somewhere.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Anything that helps me manage a calendar, I'm okay with. So yeah, 12s work for me. So yeah, that's our plan at this point. So as we start to kind of frame out the things that are part of the requirements of this, these are certainly key dates that you would want to know as part of your team participation. The other parts, Jen mentioned, this hybrid model, this face-to-face / remote connection to learn from each other, will be a lot of it in this format, what we're doing right now, through Zoom meetings. It'll be webinar-based. We have a plan for quite a few interactions with you in this remote format. We will have webinars that will be focused on the indicators themselves and what our processes look like. We will have a series of 5 webinars that will happen where we'll bring in guest speakers on certain topics related to assistive technology. So maybe not process-based, but more about tool-based and areas of tools and looking at that. We'll also have what we're calling our tool time webinars, which if you were part of the previous group, you hopefully participated in the tool time webinars that I did for that project, which were recorded webinars that you could watch at any point, and then you could go through, and there were some activities you could do as you were watching them, kind of a pause, go do some activities, and come back and watch the rest. But those will be pre-recorded. So the quiet webinars and the expert webinars will happen synchronously, but will be recorded so you can watch them later. The tool time webinars will be pre-recorded that you can watch anytime you want. And then each team will get their own set of coaching webinars, which will be in person through the video conferencing, where we will talk about your team and the issues that you're looking to resolve, the issues that you're looking to face and create a system to support. So those will be very specific for each group. Times and dates will be worked on with each group individually. Oh, look at this. People are asking questions. Very good. I like it. People are talking to each other in M. Miller. I don't know who you are, M. Miller, but I like you already. What does quiet stand for? And can I use it in Scrabble? You definitely can, because those are going to be key letter scores right there. That Q will get you every time. Quiet stands for the Quality Indicators for Assistive Technology Services. There is no S there, but that's what the quiet stands for. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that out and reminding us that to not be so jargony sometimes, but yes, thank you. So that gives you a sense. So really, when you look at it, the larger chunk of our interactions, quite honestly, will be webinar-based, will be remote, will be opportunities for you to connect from, maybe we should have put comfort in quotations when it says home and school. Maybe, I don't know if we consider that comfort, but all right, maybe it is. Maybe your school is very comfortable for you. But wherever you are, quite honestly. And so whatever works for you, you'll be able to join in. Like I mentioned, we will record everything. So if there is a moment that you miss one of the activities, don't fear. We will record it. We will post it on the website that we'll have for the teams to interact with, so that you're always able to go back to those materials. I think that's a key piece when we talk about this idea of flexible learning. And we want you to get the information. Ultimately, we want to make sure every single person sees it and benefits from it in some way. And so we'll make sure we do that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly hope when you can to join the live webinars and be part of the discussion, but life happens and we're busy professionals and you have families. So you will have backup. We'll make sure that you have access to the information if you can't be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, Jen, share your answer garden.
So we kind of want to hear from you folks, because, Mike and I have our, cherished ideas of things that we think are really important to share, whether they're procedures or tools for this population. But this will be your professional development opportunity. So I want you to think about, what are the assistive technology tools you're currently using with your students? And also be thinking about, do you have certain assistive technology that you're not using? That's shelf technology collecting dust that you want to learn how to use. And we're not offering to be purchasing all the assistive technology, but maybe there are free tools. Maybe we can leverage and get, leverage to get free giveaways maybe for our conference. Are there certain things that you wish you had too? So I think, Mike, if you jump to the answer garden,
Yep.
You can answer this digitally, quietly. You can throw out, we'll even accept if you throw them in your chat, if the thought of changing screens makes you panicky. But this is an answer garden. It's just a quick polling tool. It's short. It's shorter than Twitter. You only get 40 characters, but you can share your thoughts, and it's anonymous. So what AT are you currently using with your students? It could be low tech or high tech, middle tech. Your answer could be, I'm not using anything and I want to. That's why I'm in this webinar. What are you thinking about? So to get there, you could do this from your phone. If you have a smartphone, you can open up another tab on your screen. If you minimize your Zoom to not take up your entire screen. And it's www.answergarden.ch /811979. And if you see in the chat, the link is right there. You can just click on it. It would open for you. And every so often, if folks are actually doing it, you need to hit refresh so we can see what folks are saying. So what assistive technology are you currently using? You could just do short names or phrases, all kinds. It's very specific, Mike.
Thank you. I thought so. Oh, I want to see it. Oh, and because I'm not the owner of it, can I not see it?
Hit your refresh button.
Oh, it's still refreshing. That's why. Come on. There we go. There. All kinds. Just me. I'll refresh it every once in a while.
Uh-oh.
And this is something, this will be active even after we're done. So if you don't want to jump out of the webinar now to do it, that's okay too. Jen and I are perfectly comfortable meeting you where you are in your comfort level with tech.
And we will, as folks sign up and we have our group that's officially registered and signed up for the project, we will be polling you before we meet you in December to really get an idea of where you are and what tools you're using in your schools right now.
Yeah. So that's answergarden.ch /811979. Oh, I can only submit one answer. So now it's mad at me.
I don't know. I can change it.
I don't like when things are mad at me. I'm just going to ignore it. I let it spin for a second. Maybe it'll come back. There we go. Nice.
To adjust that setting, sorry.
Thank you, someone, for putting that in there. That looks perfect. All right, so you can continue to answer that if you'd like. We'll pull that information. We're going to start using, and like Jen said, we're going to start polling people and asking you questions and getting a sense of where you're at with tech, because we want these interactions that we're going to do. This is a lot of webinars we're talking about. We want to make sure these are the kinds of topics you're interested in. That's why we haven't really given you the list yet of what we're going to do. We have an idea of what we're going to do, but we actually want to hear from you a little bit and get a sense from what you would like to see. That way we make sure we're kind of in line with what your interests are and what your needs are, quite honestly.
We've been doing this long enough that we're happy. We have a kind of a plan that we're happy to steamroll you with. But We think that, real professional development really involves involvement of adult learners and
Yeah.
identifying some of the key things that you want to get out of the program. And we're willing to personalize and customize this to make it work for you.
I like in the same breath, Jen, you said we can steamroll you or we can honor you as learners.
Honor you. Some folks want to sit and get, but we're going to bring you out of that mindset. You can be active participants.
That's so awesome. I love it. Oh my God.
Oh, cute baby.
That was nice.
I don't type. So I just wanted to add just a thought since I can't get in there, that we have some underutilized Chromebooks and some of those extensions and the Don Johnson type of tools would be something beneficial for my team as a whole. I just can't type that right now.
Nice. Very good. Well, thank you for jumping in that way.
Would you like us to unmute some folks who want to just share verbally because they're just fighting with changing? You're welcome to share or type in the chat. We're just getting some ideas.
Yeah, you can certainly unmute yourself.
We're going to imagine with this population, you have a lot of switch users, you have nonverbal, you have children who are nonverbal. You need, thinking about adaptive toys and alternate access to technology is going to be important with students with significant disabilities. We're getting deeper into, AT needs here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
All right. Shall we roll on?
Yes, let's roll on.
Oh, this is Mike's favorite part. Oh, you didn't put your little
Nope.
there.
I let you do it.
So some of us in the webinar are really excited about using social media for professional development. Maybe some of you have joined.
Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't want to bias you. He gave me this slide. So social media, especially in this field, and when you might be the only teacher, maybe in the whole school, who is working with students who are using assistive technology, your professional learning network needs to expand beyond your four walls. And you need to find your people and be able to support each other, be able to reach out for answers and support as you try to puzzle out what you need for these students. So since I started getting involved with Twitter and Facebook, and you pick your social media, we don't care, just a way to connect with others. We will be active with the hashtag PECS-AT for New Hampshire. Yep. NH, as well as the hashtag AT chat, are topics to follow. And there are others, and I'm sure some of you will share others, but there's this will be a great way to kind of share online. And you know what? You're allowed to lurk. You can just read. You don't have to post to get this information. And look, I'm looking in the chat, all the folks at AT Camp, Stacy sharing all this inventory of devices. This is a wonderful resource. So another piece of this project is helping connect the amazing richness of AT resources you have in New Hampshire you may not even know about. Like Stacy Driscoll's team and the ability to actually demo and request.
Yeah, I wanted to continue to hang out. She's my buddy today. Oh, don't worry. Never.
I'm hanging on my phone. I'm waiting for the clock to turn. Okay. All right, so Mike, I'll let you take on the next one.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Stacy, for adding that. I appreciate that. Stacy, get ready. When I saw you were on the call, I wrote myself a sticky note that says email Stacy. So get ready. I'll do it later this afternoon. That's a warning that it's coming.
We'll be stopping by to clean you out.
That's right. Get ready. It's coming. But yeah, it's funny that I didn't take those Twitter slides because I do feel very strongly about this idea of us connecting to the larger community and learning from each other, and the idea of using the power of some of these resources that are out there to connect with each other, whether it's Twitter or something else. And like Jen said, we're not going to force you into one, even though we kind of will a little bit, but we won't. It's kind of like her steamroll you and then respect you as an adult learner comment. We'll do a little of both, but we will provide you with channels that you can connect with other people. In fact, again, we have one of those channels is already active. There is a Twitter for this project, and that's what it is. It's PECS-AT4NH. And so that's out there. You can connect with that Twitter handle. We will share information on there as we move forward and make sure that the activities that we're doing are there, and we're sharing good information with the the network around the state to make sure that the resources are getting out there. Because when we think about this, this is about professional development. And I love this quote. I put it almost in every presentation I can cram it into, from Will Richardson. If you're not familiar with Will Richardson, look him up online. He does some great stuff. He has a website called Modern Learners. And he's from New Jersey too, which is pretty great. But his comment, which is so true, he says professional development is the responsibility of the professional, not the institution. There's enough resources out there now that we should be able to take it and find it and grow. We should want to do that. This is a great opportunity to do that in the context of making yourself better, making your team better, making your school better, making your students better. It's that whole progression as we go forward. So when you put it all in a list, here's what we're talking about. This is our ask to you. It's a 3 to 4 days face-to-face, 1 or 2 webinars a month, some kind of monthly. And when it says private, meaning your team, so private to your team. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to talk to us privately about the members of your team, I guess we would do that too. But it's mostly about your teams. Any of that ongoing support, whether it's on social media or anything else, any other way you want it, we'll do that. You'll get that for the entire year. And look at that. It's not going to cost you anything. How great is that? Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
And so, again, it goes back to the breakdown. It's the breakdown that Jen said before. This is our plan. We're going to work ourselves through this and continue this iterative process of building on the skills and information and the knowledge that we have and just continuing to building our process while we simultaneously build our expertise with supports for students. So we're looking at this as kind of almost a parallel pathways, if you will, with the idea of the process piece, which, as Jen mentioned, process is process. Once you have a good process, the tech can change all day long, and we all know it does. And that doesn't matter because your process is sound and your process is consistent. And when we have that, we have success with our students because then we can meet their needs with the tools that are out there and most effective for them.
And part of the kind of long-term ongoing support, like we know we've all either been to or we've taught those kind of one and done trainings where you get all this information dumped in one day and then you're expected to just go implement it, apply it. Mm-hmm. And that's easier said than done. I mean, we can only really fit like 4 things in our brain a day that are new. But we really appreciate the power of kind of this more consultative model with ongoing support, face-to-face support and online and a community to connect with so we don't get stuck. And so the momentum keeps going and so that you feel supported because some of this work is hard and it's messy and there's always new things to learn, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Time invested.
And
all right.
So there you go. We leave it to you. Do you accept the mission? You can decide. These are the kind of things, hopefully we've given you enough of a snapshot about this project that you get a sense of what it is. We are about to, in 1 second, open it up for questions, and then you can certainly ask away whatever you'd like. But if this makes sense to you and this seems like this could be something that could help your team support your students, there's the link for the form to sign up your team. So it's bit.ly/NHAT Students Significant Disabilities. Okay, and that will get you to the form. We will post that link onto our website that we gave you at the beginning as well, which is PECS-AT.com. We'll post the link up there so you have it too. That will get you to the form.
And you were sent out the email about this, has that link as well to fill out that Google form and sign up your team. And there's a QR code there as well. If you have a newer iPhone and you just zap it, it'll bring you right to the sign up form as well. Yeah,
for sure. All right, so there it is. Without further ado, the time is yours. What would you like to chat about?
Yeah. Should we unmute them or have them chat?
I think they can unmute themselves. I think everybody's able to unmute themselves. I think they can. I think they can. Just no one wants to. That's okay.
Are there any questions? Is this enough information to think about? Are there folks out there who have already applied? Are there folks out there who are thinking about it? Any other questions you have? We hope you'll join in the fun. It's hard work, but we'll try to make it fun.
Yeah, it will be fun. We will warn you flat out. It will be fun. We will have fun. So hopefully you'll have fun too. Because I think, as Jen and I do these things, that kind of feeling of comfort and joy as you do this, and I think I can speak for Jen when I say this, we both honestly really enjoy doing this. I love working with groups to do these kinds of things. I think it's the best. It's so much fun. But it doesn't always have to be so serious. And so we will make sure that it's not, because we do like to have a laugh. I always say to groups, I'm going to have fun when I'm there. So either you can have fun too, or just be mad that I'm having so much fun, but I'm going to have fun.
And we also, we love this field, and, we have way too much time in this field maybe, but we really, we want to share and we want to learn together, and neither of us know everything. Mike knows more than I do, definitely. But
I don't know about that.
We want it to be a safe place where it's for your professional learnings. We want it to be a safe place where you can share. I don't know anything about this. I don't even know how to copy and paste, but I want to learn how to support my kids. This should be a safe place no matter where you are. We just want to help everyone move forward and work together as teams to support each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Gosh, nobody's putting us on the spot for questions.
I know. This is great, because quite honestly, I was afraid I wasn't going to have any answers. So this is actually working out perfect.
Good.
Lori, as you sit there, I'll put you on the spot since your phone's open.
Sure.
As we went through this, was there anything that you wanted us to make sure we hit on that you didn't think that we got completely? Like, was there something on your end that you wanted to make sure got out there?
No, quite honestly, when I felt the need to interrupt and add information, I did, because you can't control my mic.
I can't. I mean, I can technically. I just choose not to.
I know.
At this point.
I know you can.
I am the organizer of the webinar. I can do what I want. I have complete control. No, that's good. I'm glad. And sometimes, because, when, I want to make sure from your perspective that we're hitting on the high notes that we really need to.
Mm-hmm.
Because like anything else, Jen and I have this plan in our head of what we think makes sense, but we want to make sure that it makes sense for everybody else too.
Yep, absolutely. And I would imagine that, moving forward, as those folks that are interested in signing up, they submit their applications and we get started. If things need to be adjusted or changed or, whatever, if something isn't working for a particular group, those are all conversations that I believe that we can all have, and we can make adjustments as needed.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of that personalized learning like you were talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because we do know that everybody's in a different place.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we recognize that, and we will work very hard to get everybody to the place they want to be. And those places are going to be different too.
Yeah, and we do encourage it. I've been involved in part of different statewide initiatives, either as a participant or as a facilitator. You have folks who have really invested in teams in the previous kind of grants and focusing on client. This is an opportunity to bring new folks in your teams who are interested, that either identified themselves or you identified, to bring along as we to deepen. I think it's always really powerful to have a range of knowledge within the group. Everybody brings different talents, so I'm looking forward to the mix of folks that join us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be great.
And I think it'll be really good too, because hopefully I know there's some new folks or new districts that have expressed an interest, and hopefully, if you're still on the line, you'll pursue the application. I think there's lots of opportunities for learning, for sharing. It's intended to cover lots of information. And at times, I won't lie to you, the information can be somewhat overwhelming. And I think the people in the initial group can attest to that and probably talk you through that or talk you off the ledge. But it's really all good in the long run, and it makes sense. And it's a really good thing for students, whether they have, significant disabilities, or like Mike said, this process works for all students. So the whole range, if they have a high incidence disability or a low incidence disability or somewhere in between, this process works for all students.
Yeah, for sure.
We've had this with this type of learner.
Right,
That with this type of
Oh, I
learner.
feel like this is a group that has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask 'em.
Let me find out who it is.
Chatting.
I know. I love chatting. Whose mic is that? That's open. John, your mic is open.
Yeah, John, do you have a question?
John, you want to share something?
Oh, sorry. No.
No, that's okay. I heard you guys chatting. And, oh, no, he doesn't want to. He shut his mic right off. Okay.
So this is
I turned my mic on. That's okay. Yeah, we were just chatting about kind of, there's so much of this that's wonderful, and I want life to stop so we have time to really focus on this.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we were just talking about in my little group here, and how I'm really hoping to come out of it with not necessarily having expertise in all the area of technology, but being resourceful and knowing where to find what we need for kids to digest it. It's kind of that there's so much, and how do we move about? So when we're in a team meeting or a brainstorming session about how to help a kid, how do we know what we have available to us, or if we don't have available to us, where to get it, how to get it?
Yeah.
Kind of what we're thinking.
I think that's great, John. I really like the way you said that. And I think you're right. I don't think any of us can truly say we're an expert in all of this, but I like that idea. If we could have an expertise in some pieces, and then more importantly, have an understanding of where to go to find that additional information. I mean, that's what it's all about.
And I think there'll be a range as we explore of things like, well, I have like kind of a cursory knowledge of this, but I know it exists. And if I have a student that I know what's possible. And then other things, depending on who you're working with, diving really deeply into certain actual tools that you're going to be thinking. Because at the end of the day, you've got to recommend tools.
Yeah.
So I think this type of professional development really helps start building your toolkit of what's out there and what's possible and who to go to and where to reach out as the technology shifts from Apples and to Windows to iPads and iPhones and now Chromebooks and extensions. I mean, it keeps growing. So there's a lot of information out there, and it's okay to feel overwhelmed. But the hope is that everybody gets through this with feeling like a little, exactly what you said, a little more prepared when you're faced with a student who has some needs that you think could be supported through assistive technology.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you, John, for taking it. So, we put you on the spot, and I appreciate it.
So Mike, can I just clarify a couple pieces?
Please, yes.
So for any of the districts that have been a part of it already, and if the general content of their team is essentially going to be the same, is it necessary for them to fill out a complete application, or can they let us know that their team is interested in continuing?
I think they could do that.
What do you think? And part of it is making sure that we have access to the contact information of everybody as we start rolling out. I mean, yeah, I guess I leave it up to you so we can know who's coming in. Without having
so would you just prefer that the contact information stuff is sent in?
It would certainly make it.
I want to make sure you guys have what you need to communicate.
Yeah, I think at least the contact information would help. And I know that seems kind of like a pain for some of the groups that were already part, but it will help us kind of be able to organize who's part of this and who we need to be able to get in touch with right away.
Right, especially because some will be new and some will be returning. And kind of in that same line, and I'm going to kind of open this up to other participants because I'm going to have trouble remembering everybody, but we had a question about who are the districts that have been participating, and I figured if we can get that kind of answered. I know Merrimack School District has certainly been there. I know that Crotchet Mountain has been there. I know that Monarch School of New England has been there. I know SAU 19, which included New Boston and Goffstown, has been a part of this. Merrimack, no, not Merrimack,
And
Mascoma, correct?
yeah, I think Epping and Fall Mountain are also in there as well. There were 9 of us.
Oh, yep, thank you. Fall Mountain. Who else have I missed, Jess?
I think we're missing somebody, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. There was 9 of us total, and I didn't count how many you had rattled off.
Margaret just said
Yeah,
Salem.
I wasn't counting either, but I was hoping other people might remember and jump in. So let's see, Fall Mountain, and then there was Mascoma Regional, correct?
Yeah, I can actually look in my email.
Oh, you're good.
And Margaret added Salem in.
Yeah.
Salem.
That's what I'm reading from the box there.
Oh, sorry. I was like, where did that come from?
I don't know. Whoever asked the question said that was good. Thanks. I mean, that's perfect. Just to get a sense of who some of these other groups are. You know, just thinking.
Absolutely. And then because the idea was to maybe reach out and
sure.
chat, so
yeah, exactly. No, that's great. Thank you guys for asking questions and participating. Thanks, Jess, for jumping in.
Working on it, trying.
Oh, awesome.
If I get it, I'll type it in.
It's a deal. I'll take it. Thanks. Any other questions? Any other thoughts?
okay, so Bo is on the call and Salem's on the call, but you guys would be new to this because you weren't participating in it last year, correct?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. Thank you.
I thought so. I was like, wait, Salem? I don't remember that. Am I totally missing something? I know I was there, but I could have easily spaced out, I guess.
I had to rely on you. I wasn't there. I don't know the group, so I just read what comes up in the box. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you guys for adding that in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Other thoughts or questions, especially from maybe from the newer folks that are jumping in? Concerns? It's fine.
I want that team member right there. I want that person.
Absolutely.
They're twins, so. Fremont was the one that we forgot.
Fremont.
Oh, thank you. I knew there was somebody else. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and someone asked in the chat, why limit the group size to 5 to 8? I'm going to guess from that question you wanted more than 8 from the response. I'm curious how many people you would want to participate. I'm just curious. What's your number there? I really think it was about manageable and just finding a way to have a consistent group of people. That doesn't mean you couldn't bring the information back and share it with a larger group.
That's the hope too.
Yeah, and of course that's the hope, is that you would spread it out even further. I think, when we started thinking about this, what was a realistic expectation for the resources of a school to have a group between 5 and 8 actively participate in the whole entire learning experience.
Time too.
Yeah, right.
Certainly, you can talk to us on the side and be like, oh, I have a 9th member. I mean, we could certainly talk about this and build this as we go.
Yeah. And again, we're flexible.
I would agree. I think there's flexibility there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's a district number, 5 to 8 from your district.
Yeah. Okay. Margaret asks, is part of this grant to provide skills for us to share with a wider group of professionals? Yes, sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
We want you to spread the word.
Definitely, Margaret. Yeah, for sure. And I think that what you would be doing, just by the sheer nature of the areas that we're going to talk about, is creating processes and systems and levels of expertise that you would want to share widely across the district, because you would want to be able to get other people in. And in fact, that could be part of your activities as you go forward, is now that we have this, how do we make change on a larger scale throughout our schools, throughout our district, whatever it might be?
And ideally, this is Lori, ideally it would be awesome, especially those folks who participated last year, to be able to kind of be mentors and lead, and perhaps even go out into other districts in the state to maybe get them started, or be the spokespersons, so that hopefully my ideal world, if I were in charge of the world, which nobody ever wants to see, but that everybody in the state would be up to speed with this. I know that's a big task, but it would be great to spread the word even across the state, beyond your own districts.
Yeah, for sure. That also goes to part of the reason why, as we start to get together for that first live training, we're hoping that maybe one of the groups offers up a site that we can meet at maybe the next time, because we'd love to be in the schools where you guys are doing things. That would be so much fun to find a way to really be able to infuse ourselves for a day of learning into your environment as you're sharing your experiences, which would be great. That was awesome. Great questions. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else? In my mind, I had this as 1 hour, and we're getting close to the hour. I wanted to, again, be respectful of your time, but certainly we can stay here as long as you guys have questions. But I guess I'll throw out that idea of any other things you want to talk about. Ooh, I'm staring at the box and nothing's happening.
Well,
Right? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. I don't see anything else.
hopefully gave them a good idea of, a general idea of what we're trying to cover, or uncover through this grant project, for the districts.
Yeah.
So if you do choose to accept this mission, there'll be a follow-up, an introductory online webinar for the folks who have applied and are set up to join us. For those who are here now, you will find that it'll be very similar to what we've done today, to give folks kind of a deeper outline of what we'll be doing, and it'll be a lot of opportunity for us to pull folks and really gather kind of key ideas that the teams want to cover and get a feel for where everybody is and their knowledge about assistive technology and what their hopes are for their districts that they're coming from. So there'll be an online training on November 26th from 2 to 3, and then we'll have our in-person training on the 12th of December.
Yeah, so if we look at those things that are your next big deadlines, those are the ones. Those are right there. Those are the next 2 big things that will happen.
We forgot the other important deadline, November 15th, right? It's coming up.
Yes.
That is the deadline to get your application in and sign up, get your teams together, whether you're volunteering or hopefully volunteering and not voluntold, but the volunteers who want to sign up for this learning experience over the course of the rest of the school year.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that, I'm looking to make sure there's nothing else in the box. I don't see anything. So with that, we will thank you for your time. We hope that we see you on the 26th and then again on the 12th, and then moving forward. We look forward to working with you as groups. Again, if you have any issues, questions, concerns, you have our contact info from the front with our email addresses. You can certainly reach out and ask any questions you'd like. You can fill out the form. Part of the form that was the link that we shared with you. There's an option on that form. If you have other questions you'd like answered, you can click that part of the form and we'll reach back out to you prior to the deadline. So you have bunches of ways to get in touch with us. We're looking forward to it. We're very excited. We thank you for being with us for this hour to get a sense of what we're going to do, and hope that you come with us on the journey. Thanks very much.
Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend, folks.